Why facts don't change our minds. The hidden psychology behind stubborn beliefs. What if I told you that giving someone more facts can actually make them believe the opposite even more strongly? Sounds impossible, right? We like to think we're rational people. We imagine that when presented with solid evidence, we'll calmly examine it, change our minds if necessary, and move on. But that's not how the human brain works. In reality, facts often fail to change opinions. Whether it's politics, health, sports, religion, or even simple everyday arguments, people frequently cling to their beliefs, even when overwhelming evidence suggests they're wrong. So why does this happen? And more importantly, if facts don't change minds, what does? Today, we're diving into the fascinating psychology behind stubborn beliefs and uncovering the surprising ways we can have better conversations in a divided world. Let's get started. The illusion of being logical. Most of us believe we're logical thinkers. We assume our opinions are based on evidence and careful reasoning. But psychologists have discovered something uncomfortable. Our emotions usually make decisions first, and our logic arrives later to justify them. Think about it. Have you ever disliked someone and then found yourself criticizing everything they do? Or loved a movie and ignored its obvious flaws? That's because human beings aren't objective truth-seeking machines. We're emotional creatures who often use reason as a defense attorney rather than a judge. Instead of asking, what's true? Our brains frequently ask, how can I prove I'm right? And that changes everything. The backfire effect. One of the most surprising psychological phenomena is something called the backfire effect. This happens when people encounter evidence that contradicts their beliefs. Instead of changing their minds, they become even more convinced they're correct. Imagine someone firmly believes a conspiracy theory. You show them documents, expert analysis, and verified facts proving it false. Rather than accepting the new information, they may become more defensive and committed to their original belief. Why? Because beliefs aren't just ideas. They're often tied to identity. When a belief feels connected to who we are, challenging it can feel like a personal attack. The brain interprets the threat almost like physical danger. And when people feel threatened, they defend themselves. Not with fists, but with arguments. Why identity matters more than facts. Here's where things get really interesting. Research suggests that people don't simply hold beliefs. Beliefs help people belong. Political views, cultural values, religious beliefs, and even favorite brands often become part of our identity. They connect us to families, friends, and communities. Imagine someone who has spent years in a social group that shares a particular belief. If changing their mind means losing acceptance from that group, the cost becomes much higher than simply admitting they're wrong. In many cases, staying connected feels more important than being accurate. That's why facts alone often fail. You're not just challenging information. You're challenging someone's sense of belonging. Confirmation bias, the brain's favorite trick. Another powerful force is confirmation bias. This is our tendency to search for, remember, and trust information that supports what we already believe. At the same time, we ignore or dismiss information that contradicts us. Think of confirmation bias as a mental filter. If you believe something is true, your brain naturally notices evidence that supports it. Everything else gets pushed aside. Social media makes this even stronger. Algorithms often show us content we already agree with. Over time, we can end up living inside an echo chamber where our existing beliefs are constantly reinforced. The result, we become more certain, even when we're not necessarily more informed. The myth of winning arguments. Most people think the goal of a disagreement is to win. But winning rarely changes minds. In fact, public humiliation often makes people double down on their views. Imagine being proven wrong in front of friends, coworkers, or thousands of people online. Would you immediately admit defeat? Probably not. Most people become defensive. That's because humans care deeply about status and respect. When conversations turn into battles, learning stops. The focus shifts from discovering truth to protecting pride. And once pride enters the room, facts often leave. What actually changes minds? So if facts aren't enough, what works? The answer may surprise you. The most effective way to influence someone isn't through confrontation. It's through connection. People are far more open to new ideas when they feel respected and understood. Instead of saying, "You're wrong," try asking questions. Instead of attacking conclusions, explore how those conclusions were reached. Curiosity creates openness. Judgment creates resistance. Many successful communicators understand this principle. They listen first. They seek understanding before persuasion. And they make people feel safe enough to reconsider their views. The power of stories. Another reason facts struggle to change minds is that the human brain loves stories. Numbers and statistics can be powerful, but stories create emotional experiences. And emotions are often what drive belief. Think about the most memorable lessons you've learned. Chances are they came through personal experiences or compelling stories, not spreadsheets. Stories help people imagine different perspectives. They lower defenses and create empathy. That's why some of history's most influential leaders, teachers, and communicators relied heavily on storytelling. Not because facts don't matter, but because stories help facts stick. How to have better conversations. If you genuinely want productive discussions, here are 4 simple strategies. First, listen more than you speak. People become more receptive when they feel heard. Second, ask thoughtful questions. Questions encourage reflection without triggering defensiveness. Third, acknowledge valid points. Agreement on small things builds trust. And fourth, focus on shared values. People may disagree on solutions while caring about the same goals. These approaches won't guarantee instant change, but they dramatically increase the chances of meaningful dialogue. Conclusion: the truth is, facts do matter.